Do you ever catch yourself saying that you're too busy, that you don't have enough time in the day? I'm Makai Block with Limitless North, and I want to talk with you in this video about what that actually means and how detrimental that can be for you to think that way and act that way consistently over time. I'm the kind of guy that always found myself saying, I'm too busy to get that stuff done. I feel overwhelmed. There's not enough time in the day. I still catch myself saying that sometimes, but I've realized that it's all about time management. And that's something that is so important for you to delve into, but we're not going to talk specifically about time management in this video, but more the perspective that we have when we say that we're too busy. You see, the reality is if you're too busy to do important things in your life, to do things that matter, to do things that are going to help push you towards your goals and the things that you want to achieve with your life, you're never going to get out of that. You're always going to be too busy to do those things. So you have to really just look at your perspective and look at what's going on psychologically with you and find a way to change that so that you actually make time for the most important priorities in your life. And if you're too busy, if you have something coming at you, something coming to your table, and you find yourself making the excuse, I'm too busy, I don't have enough time, there's not enough time in the day, I'm already just overwhelmed and tapped out with everything that I'm doing, how could I possibly get to that? But you know that that thing is incredibly important to you. So you've got to stop, and you've got to just take an account of where you're at and what you're doing. You see, the main thing that most of us are missing is focus in our lives. And if you're like me, it's great to be busy. It's great to have lots of things that you're focused on, that you want to accomplish, that you want to achieve. I've set some incredible, amazing goals for myself that I want to make sure I knock out this year. And so it pulls me in lots of different directions. And I oftentimes find that things are coming to my plate that are incredibly important to get done, that can add a great amount of result and benefit to my life if I finish them. And yet I say, I don't have time to do that right now. And so I push it off, and I never feel like I have time to do it. And so I have to stop, and I have to catch myself, and I have to say, what am I focusing on that's more important than that thing? And more often than not, there's not a whole lot of things that are more important than that, but I'm giving my time to so many other things. And so the important thing that I have to remember and that you have to remember is to focus. Maybe just on one thing. Maybe you have to cut out some of your other goals, some of your other things that you're striving towards, and just focus on one thing and become successful at that and get that done all the way so that you can have a bit of freedom in your life and a bit of success, which can then spur you on to these other things, these other objectives and goals and dreams and desires that you have, and give you time to focus on those. But if you're constantly juggling 30 or 40 or 10 things or whatever it is, and that's too much for you, you're never going to get to success in any one of them because you don't have the ability to focus and do the most important priorities that are going to give you the greatest maximum benefit and achievement when they're completed. Does that make sense? Are you getting that at all? I just want to make sure that I drive that point home, that it's okay to have lots of different goals and to focus on many different things, but the key is you've got to focus. And you've got to be able to give your time and your effort and your energy to the appropriate things that come down your pipeline. Because let's just say you have 3 big goals and you're making really good progress on all 3, but now all of a sudden for goal number 1, something really important comes through that needs to get done. And if you were to get it done, it would shoot you ahead leaps and bounds and miles of progress on that goal. But you're so focused on these 3 things, and you're so busy and stressed and tapped out with all 3 of those and overwhelmed, that when this new opportunity comes, you don't have time to give to it. You don't have time to focus on it. You don't have time to complete it or accomplish it, and thus you don't have time to reap the rewards of what you're trying to accomplish in the first place. And so you have to catch yourself when something important comes down, and you realize that you know when something important is at your door and you don't have time for it. So catch yourself and stop and say, out of these 3 goals, which one's most important? It could be that number 3 is the most important, and the benefit you'd get from completing this for number 1 isn't that great. So okay, then make your decision and focus on number 3. But more than likely, they're all equally important in your eyes, and you have an opportunity to shoot forward on number 1. So you may have to lessen your focus on number 2 and number 3 and put all your attention and effort onto the opportunity that's knocking at your door right now so that you can go leaps and bounds ahead and gain some success in an area. But what we typically tend to do is we neglect it and we just focus on everything, and then we struggle through everything, making inches of progress on these things when we could have shot way ahead on number 1 and thus created more momentum and more freedom, more success, more motivation, more inspiration on the other goals that we're focused on. So if you find yourself saying you're too busy consistently, like I did, or that you're overwhelmed or stressed out or there's not enough hours in the day, the first thing to look at is time management, because that's a whole skill and habit to develop in and of itself, and efficiency and effectiveness. And I talk about that a lot in my other videos. But the main thing I want to drive home in this video is it's not necessarily about time management, but it's about focus. That you may have your focus so spread, so thin, that you can't ever achieve anything that you want to achieve anyways. So stop and cut some stuff out of your life that's not necessarily as important as what you really want to achieve. So develop your priorities and figure out what is the most important thing. What is your ultimate definite purpose? Napoleon Hill talks so much in his book Think and Grow Rich about your ultimate definite purpose. And that's something that I talk so much about in my program, The Foundations of Success, which you can find at my website on the link below. But having an ultimate definite purpose and knowing what you're striving for in life, that's where your focus goes. That's where you put your attention, your effort, and you make time for anything that comes your way as an opportunity in that avenue, at the expense of any other goal that you may have, because this is what's important to you, and you need to know that. And then you need to focus. You need to just focus in on the things that are coming down your way that are going to improve your life.